So welcome back, guys, to the Andrew Dillich podcast. Reality check. I think, therefore I am. That famous quote by the famous, what's his fucking name? Shakespeare? Yeah, Shakespeare. By the famous poet Shakespeare. I think, therefore I am. I hope it's Shakespeare or I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. But either way, the importance is the quote. I think, therefore I am. How true is that quote? In my opinion, when you start something new and then you have a goal that you want to accomplish or a place that you want to achieve or a place that you want to reach, a place in society, a place in your heart, a place in someone's heart, or just a place in general, when you want to achieve something, thinking you are that person before you become that person will help you naturally translate into becoming that person. That's what I believe. So I think, therefore I am. You are who you believe you are. It's as simple as that. Now that's why it's important to not listen to outside opinion, not listen to what people have to say regarding you, your personality, and who you are as a person. That's why it's not important to listen to them, and that's why you're only going to waste energy and time if you're listening to everyone regarding their opinion of who you are and who they think you are. First of all, people don't know you as good as you know yourself. And plus, it's another plus if you're capable of telling yourself the truth and introspecting inside of yourself, going inside of yourself deep down to look in your emotions, look at your soul, look at your thoughts, think about your thoughts, analyze your thoughts, feel your thoughts. Feel your thoughts is probably the most important thing that all human beings need, the skill they need to possess and that they need to acquire in order to grow. When you're capable of controlling your thoughts, when you're capable of being the master of your brain, of your mind, and of your thoughts, that's when you are unstoppable, and that's when you become a monster, which means a fucking unstoppable human being that no one can shut down and no one can stop. I think, therefore I am. So like I said, that's why you shouldn't care and you shouldn't give a two flying fucks what people think about you and people's opinion of you. That's why you shouldn't care. Because who you think you are is who you are. It's as simple as that. Who you think you are, you're him. If you're capable of rewiring your brain, of wiring your conscious mind and your subconscious mind into becoming the person you wanted to become, which will then translate into you becoming the person that you wish to become, And since we're all different, we all have a different picture or a different, what we consider to be a perfect, of course, no one is perfect, but what we consider to be a perfect human being. So that's why we all have a different calling and we all have a different destiny. So I think, therefore I am. When you don't care what other people say about you, when you don't care about their opinion of you, and you only care about your own opinion regarding yourself, that's when you will become who you think you are. And it goes for both sides. If you think of yourself negatively and you think that you're not a good person, that you're not a competent person, you're not smart, you're not good looking, you're not charming, you're not funny, you're not educated, you're not whatever, then in translation, since your mind controls you and your brain is your most powerful tool, in translation, you will start acting like the person that you think you are, meaning not smart, not competent, not educated, ugly, stupid, not charismatic, not charming, whatever. But it also goes for the other way around, meaning if you think that you are smart, educated, kind, loving, compassionate, charming, funny, good looking, competent, whatever, then in translation, you will start acting like a person who is all of those traits that I just named, which will then in translation mean that you will become that person, because we are not who we say we are what we repeatedly do. And if we repeatedly do what we want to do, and if we repeatedly do smart things, if we repeatedly do smart actions, intelligent actions, good actions, charming actions, compassionate actions, then in translation, we are that person. We become that person. So that's why I think, therefore I am. A famous quote by the famous poet Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. That's why, in my opinion, it's such a popular quote. That's why, in my opinion, that quote has been cited for over centuries now. Ever since he said that quote, it's been popular. Everyone has already heard it once or twice in their lifetime. I think, therefore I am. In my opinion, it's true. I believe in it 100%. Since your mind is so powerful and controls everything about your life, your mind literally controls everything in your life, everything from A to Z. So that's why I think, therefore I am. If you think you're someone, with your willpower, you start acting like that person, you then become that person, and you are your actions. You're not who you say you are. If I'm someone who says I'm such a good person, but I never do a good deed, I never do a good action, then I'm not a good person. I'm a bad person who talks about being a good person, but I'm not a good person. If you say that you're a good person and then your actions are good, you're a good person. Or if you're just simply someone who never talks, you're a silent warrior, you're a silent human being, you're not someone who talks a lot, you're introverted, you don't like talking, but your actions are good, you're a good person. You don't have to say who you are. Your actions show us who you are. Your actions show the world who you are. And your actions show your mind who you are. So if you constantly do great things, your mind will rewire, your subconscious mind will rewire into thinking that you are a great person. Since I've been doing great actions, then you'll be more confident. And it's like a snowball effect. The more you do, the bigger it becomes, and the bigger it becomes, the bigger it becomes. It just keeps going and going, growing and growing, and never stopping. But it's because it's a never-ending hill that the snowball is rolling down towards a never-ending flat earth. That's how it's done. That's why I think, therefore I am. I believe in it 100%. Tai Lopez, very famous guy. You can call him an influencer. I say more like a businessman. And he is a motivational speaker, like it or not. He talks a lot about human growth. Talks a lot about personal development, becoming a better person, accomplishing your dreams, facing your fears, and just everything regarding human development to reach your full potential as a human being. And on top of that, of course, he's a businessman and a very successful businessman with a very, inspiring past, a very inspiring past. And he said on Facebook, he wrote, "The difference between rich and poor isn't intelligence or luck. It's delayed gratification. Rich people suffer now to live better later. Poor people feel good now and suffer later. That's it. Can you say no to short-term pleasure for long-term gain?" That's the whole game. And I agree. Now, I'm not as accomplished as him. One day, knock on wood, I will be. I will reach my full destiny. But this is something we heard throughout life. Someone who is able to put down what feels good in short-term pleasure, someone who is able to put short-term pleasure to the side for long-term gain, that is a person who will achieve whatever they want to achieve. That is a person who will score any goal they want to score. That is a person who will literally achieve all of their dreams. Someone who is capable for over a long period of time, meaning the entirety of your life. An average, let's say we live 80 years. Someone is capable of going 80 years, day in, day out, day by day, step by step, putting short-term pleasure to the side for long-term gain. They will achieve their full potential. They will reach their full destiny, what God, what the universe has planned for them, all the gifts, all the treasures that it has in store for that person. That person who is able to put short-term pleasure to the side for long-term gain, they will achieve whatever they want, and the world is theirs. When you're capable of controlling your emotions, controlling your impulses in order to put your short-term pleasure to the side for long-term gain, you reach mental strength. By reaching mental strength, you reach peace of mind, you reach a calm mind. When you reach a calm mind, you reach a powerful mind. And when you reach a calm and powerful mind, that is when you conquer yourself. And the only way that man can conquer the world is by conquering himself. That is the only way. A man can literally conquer 20 countries, can conquer the entire world, literally conquer every single country on planet Earth. But if he hasn't conquered himself, his thoughts, and his soul, he is a man who has not conquered the world. Man conquers the world only and only by conquering himself. What that means is whenever you have bad thoughts, you don't let your thoughts dictate your life. You don't let your thoughts dictate your actions. You don't let your thought dictate your free will. Even if you get negative thoughts, you know how to control your thoughts. You know how to suppress your negative thoughts, how to control them, and you tame them. And then you translate it and you transform it into good and positive thoughts, which then translates into good and positive actions, which will bring you to your destiny and to your goals. That's how it's done. So people, let me give you a little example. Let's say for myself, right? Now, of course, I'm not like Tai Lopez. I didn't achieve millions of dollars. Not yet. Knock on wood. Not yet. But let me use one example. That's something that I consider that I did achieve. I achieved my dream physique. I achieved it. I literally did. I wanted a six-pack, developed chest, shoulders, arms, muscular body while being lean. Of course, when I looked at many pictures, let's say when I started off on this fitness journey, when I started off working out, I would see Brad Pitt in Fight Club, his body type. That was really attractive to me. That is a body type I was aiming to have. Charlie Hunnam in King Arthur. Brad Pitt in Snatch, and many other, like Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe a bit more muscular. But what I mean is, that is the type of physique that I consider to be the dream physique. For people who know about the fitness world, about the food industry and whatever else, in my opinion, that's one of the hardest bodies to achieve because you have to have a lot of muscle. So you have to go to the gym, lift weights, and you have to eat not a lot. You have to eat either the same amount that you're spending or be in a caloric deficit. And while being in a caloric deficit, not in a surplus, but in a deficit, you need to eat whole foods and to hit certain macronutrient goals. That's why it's really hard. Okay, so what I'm trying to say right now is every single day that I went to the gym, I didn't feel like it. I don't like going to the gym. I'm not going to lie. Lifting weights, I like getting a pump. Everyone likes getting a pump. But going to the gym, lifting weights, working out, running, playing soccer, I love playing soccer. Of course, that's a sport. But working out and the fitness world in general, I don't like working out. It's fucking boring. I got to force. And plus, I'm a guy who really hates physical jobs. I hate physical jobs. I'm really lazy physically. I'm really lazy. So I hate going to the gym. But I know that if I'm capable of sacrificing short-term pleasure, laying down in my couch, eating whatever I want, whenever I want, and not moving a single finger, I know that if I'm capable of sacrificing that short-term pleasure of laying down in a couch and eating whatever I want for long-term gain, meaning I'm sacrificing this pleasure because instead of sitting on my couch, rotting away on my couch, eating whatever I want to eat, I will get up off my ass, put my gym clothes on, go to the gym, even if I don't feel like it, even if every workout I do, I fucking hate it. Every pull-up I do, I hate it. Every bench press I do, I hate it. Every hammer curl I do, I hate it. Every curl I do, I hate it. Every whatever workout I do, I hate it. I'm still going to do it because I want long-term gain, which is to achieve my dream physique. And then, of course, the food. Like, my favorite food is pizza, right? I could eat pizza literally every single day and I would be happy like a motherfucker. I would be like a little baby singing, crying of happiness, like a little kid running around in a candy shop and grabbing every candy he has in sight, he can see in his eyesight. I would be like that little kid. But I know that if I eat pizza every single day, I'm not going to achieve long-term gain, which in translation means my dream physique. So I'm aware of that. So I say, okay, maybe I'm going to eat pizza once a week because I know that it's not the healthiest option. So I'm going to eat foods that are more boring, but are healthier and more fun for my body and for my intestines, my stomach, and all my other vital organs. So that's why I'm going to sacrifice short-term gain. Short-term pleasure for long-term gain. So that is something that I did achieve, and I can tell you from experience, it's worth it. Believe me, guys, the sacrifice is hard. The going to the gym, getting up in the morning, going to the gym, even if when you don't feel like it, you still do it. It's fucking boring. It's hard. You don't feel like it. Eating foods that are good for you, that are healthy for you, but taste like fucking shit, taste like cardboard. At the end of the day, it's worth it. Because when you have that dream physique, no food tastes as good as reaching your dream physique. No food tastes that good. Like I said, pizza is my favorite food. I like cookies, I like donuts, whatever. None of those foods, which I consider to be my favorite foods, none of those foods taste as good as a six-pack tastes or as my dream physique tastes. None of those foods. So yes, it's really hard, but the long-term gain is worth it. There's way, 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 way more pros than cons when it comes to achieving your dream physique by going to the gym regularly, consistently, and by eating healthy and whole foods regularly and consistently. Okay, so guys, plastic surgery. Let's talk about it. I feel like nowadays in 2026, I wasn't aware of it because plastic surgery isn't really something I really put my focus on. Like, let's say when I do my reality checks, I talk a lot about culture, politics, religion, human personal development, all of that, because it's something that interests me. So I put a lot of time and effort into researching and learning more. And of course, spiritual growth and all of that stuff, because these are things that interest me. Plastic surgery was never something that interested me, but of course I always knew of it. I knew the consequences. I knew what it meant. I knew exactly, like I knew in general 60 to 70% of the world regarding that just by hearing stories here and there, social media and whatever, general knowledge, right? But recently I discovered how many people actually undergo plastic surgery. And in my opinion, it's crazy, man. In my opinion, people need to chill out with plastic surgery. My opinion, I know it's mostly women who do it. Of course, it makes sense. Everything that is beauty and whatever, women do it more than men. But there is recently a rise in men doing it. I've heard many men tell me that they did plastic surgery, and I was surprised because I never would have thought that type of man, because of the personality he has and the way he acts, the way he talks, I never would have thought that type of man would undergo plastic surgery. Because maybe I'm gonna be stereotypical right now. The type of man that I envisioned undergoing plastic surgery are homosexual men and men who are very feminized. I mean, bash me all you want, but that's how I saw it, right? So when I saw a really like masculine man undergo plastic surgery, that's when I was like, yo, what the actual fuck just happened? Like, really? You're vain? Like, you don't look like a vain person, but you're vain? Really? Hey, I mean, each to their own, but people need to chill out on plastic surgery. Sometimes people go crazy with plastic surgery. Some people do plastic surgery, a little bit of here and there, and you can never tell. Like, if that person was to never tell me that they underwent plastic surgery, I never would have guessed. So that, I feel like that's not bad. I feel like, you know what, you cannot tell. But when you can tell, and many of you guys, I mean, I don't want to burst your bubble. I don't want to break your hopes or your dreams or whatever. But many of you guys who do plastic surgery and who do undergo plastic surgery, we can tell, man. I mean, I don't want to burst your bubble, but we can fucking tell. Like when your face, when you can't even move your face, when you can't even do basic functions with your face, when your lips are literally and like big, like they look like fucking two sausages. When your cheekbones are like very puffy and whatever else, like we can tell that it's fake. Like, I don't want to burst your bubble. Maybe you thought no one saw, but we all see, right? It's like people, again, I don't want to bash them. I mean, it's like people who are bald on top, they still have hair on the side, and then they flip their hair over the bald spot, thinking that no one's going to see. I hate to break it down to you guys, but we all see it. No one's blind. No one is dumb. We all see it. If you want to look, if you want to see it, you're going to see it. So that's when I feel like when you can tell that someone has done plastic surgery, in my opinion, it becomes less attractive. And I feel like 99% of male men agree with me that when you can tell that a woman has done plastic surgery, meaning, which also means that she did too much and she exaggerated the level of plastic surgery she actually needed. So when she exaggerates and we can tell that she did work, I feel like all men are less attracted to her than a woman who's never done plastic surgery, has natural beauty, or a woman who's done such little work that no one could tell. So that's why when we look at her, we think it's natural, even if it isn't. I don't want to know, but when I look at her, I feel like it's natural. So that's why it's more attractive, right? And I think I can speak for all men right now. Natural beauty will always, always triumph over plastic beauty. Always. There isn't a single man on planet Earth who will choose plastic beauty over natural beauty in a woman and everything. Short-term relationships, long-term relationships, marriage, having kids, going to a coffee date with, going to a dinner date with, whatever, hanging around, going to the library, going on a walk with her, speaking with her, talking with her, having sex with her, whatever you can do with a girl. All men prefer having a natural, beautiful woman around them than having a woman who is beautiful but filled and full of plastic. That's a fact. And also, if I might add, maybe for short-term relationships, some guys wouldn't care being with a girl who has plastic beauty because, I mean, in a way, it could be sexually attractive. But especially when it comes to long-term relationships and marriage, then it not that it doubles, it triples and quadruples and centuples and sextuples a million times marrying a girl who has natural beauty over a girl who has plastic beauty. Because it's not all about physical, although physical plays a big part in my argument. It's also about mentality. If you're a woman who can't accept the fact that your body is aging, that you're not going to be 25 years old your entire life. You're not going to be 30. One day you're going to be 40. One day you're going to be 50. One day you're going to be 60. And then one day you're going to be a grandma. And then one day you're going to die. It happens to all human beings. It's a natural process of life. It happens to everyone. But if you're a girl who mentally cannot accept that, and you want to always be this 25-year-old girl who gets all the attention from all the men, that also shows us what type of personality you have. And it shows us, in general, that's not the most attractive personality to have as a female for a man who is looking for a wife. That's not the most attractive trait to have in general. Of course, some girls can say that they're doing it for themselves. I respect that. But if we're being honest, I go to the gym to have a nice sculpted body, what I consider to be a dream physique for myself. Of course, I'm very proud of myself. I like looking at it. But let's not lie, I like going to the beach and taking off my shirt so other people, especially girls, will look at me. Of course, I like the attention. Everyone likes that attention. Everyone. If you say you don't, you're a fucking liar. So girls or guys, of course, we all appreciate that attention. Although some people like the attention more than others. In general, if you take the globality of it and the vast generality of it, women in general like way, way more attention and are way more attention-seeking than men in general. Of course, if you can take one individual man, you can find an individual man who likes attention more than an individual woman. That exists. But in general, the global truth is that in general, women seek attention more than men. That's okay. There's nothing wrong there. It's human nature. But there's a certain healthy amount of wanting attention and approval from others, which can be considered healthy. But there's also a lot of amounts, many different levels of amounts, which can and which are considered unhealthy. That is a fact. So a woman who constantly is seeking male attention or just attention in general, like to an extreme level, all the power to her. I wish her all the best. But I'm speaking the truth right now. Men don't want to marry, in general, that type of woman. It's not attractive. It is what it is. Just as much as girls don't find guys who are weak to be attractive in general, men don't find women who are attention seekers attractive in general. That's a fact. Let's do a Bible quote. God, give me the grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things which should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. One of the most beautiful quotes, one of the most beautiful verses in the Bible and just in the world and the humanity of the world in general. It's one of the most beautiful quotes to have ever been said and one of the most beautiful verses ever. So when there are certain things we cannot change. Certain things. Of course now, let's say height. Of course now people can say, yeah, now you can do surgery with limb lengthening and you can change your height. But in general, there are things you cannot change. your skin color, which country you're born, your height, your face, of course, in general. Of course, you can do surgeries here and there, but you know what I mean. Your brain, your parents, your brother, your family, relatives, whatever. There are certain things you cannot change. You should ask for serenity, for grace to accept the things you cannot change. It is what it is. Life is unfair, but it's unfair for everyone, which makes life unfair. One of my favorite quotes. But we've all been dealt a different set of cards. We've all been dealt a different deck of cards. It's a fact. We've all been dealt a different hand. It is. Some people have better hands than others. It is what it is. Like I said, life is unfair, but life is unfair for everyone, which makes life fair in a way. So to accept the cards you've been dealt with so you can have peace of mind is a really, really big and powerful move you can do so that you have peace of mind and then you can have a powerful mind. And then changing for the better, changing to become a better version of yourself, changing to become a better person is really hard and takes a lot of guts. So that's why, and grant me the courage to change the things which should be changed. There are many things you can change. Your weight, your status in society, your education level, your money, whatever else. There are many things you can change. Your temper, your personality, of course, to a certain degree. You can change your personality. Maybe not personality, but I mean, be less short-tempered, be more patient, all of those things. Be more disciplined. These are all things you can change. But it's fucking hard. That's why 95% of human beings throughout life, they live their entire life. They go throughout life without ever changing who they are, without ever becoming a better version of themselves. Why? Because it's fucking hard. And when something is hard to do, when something is hard to achieve, very few people do it because it's fucking hard. As human beings, we all seek comfort and we all seek to be as lazy as possible while getting the most work done. It is what it is. And since everything that is hard to do, very few people do it, which then translates to very few people achieving greatness. So courage to change the things which should be changed. So the things that you know deep down that you should change about yourself. You don't have to say it to others. You don't have to be vocal about it. You don't have to be expressive about it. But deep down, we all know to a certain degree what we need to change about ourselves. We all know in general, of course, but it takes a lot of courage. So that's why God grant me the courage to change the things which should be changed. And of course, the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. Sometimes the things that we think that we can change, we cannot change. And there are certain things we think we cannot change that we actually can change. So that's why we need wisdom to know the difference between one and the other. It takes wisdom to know what needs to get changed and what doesn't need to get changed, right? There are certain things that we can change, but we gaslight ourselves into thinking that we can't change them just so we feel better about not changing them. You know what I mean? Like, let's say someone is overweight. Instead of themselves telling themselves, you know what, I should change my weight, I should eat healthier, I should move more, spend more calories, they can lie to themselves and say, you know what, I'm just born like this, I have big bones, I have a slow metabolism, my dad was fat, my granddad was fat, it's a lineage of fat people, there's nothing I can do. Then of course, they're going to gaslight themselves into believing that they don't have the chance to even change it. So they don't need the courage to change it because it's something they cannot change. And that's where wisdom comes into play. When you have wisdom, so you can calmly tell yourself, okay, no, this is actually something I can change. Let me not be so emotional about it. Let me think about it rationally and stoically. It is something I can change. So let me change it. So that's why we need wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes you feel stuck. On your journey to becoming the best version of yourself, to reaching your full destiny, there are moments you're going to feel stuck. Let's say me with my podcast, right? There are certain moments I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. Who should I bring next? What should I talk about? Should I keep going? Whatever. When you feel stuck, the best thing you can do is just keep going. Power through it. That's the best way. When you feel stuck, Don't stop. The worst thing you can do when you feel stuck in life, in whatever aspect, in whatever field, in whatever domain, in whatever level of playing field, whenever you feel stuck, the worst thing you can fucking do is stop. It is literally the worst thing you can do, and is the biggest killer of dreams since humanity exists. So when you feel stuck, the last thing you should do, you should die before you quit. That's a fact. I'm not being crazy right now. I'm not doing hyperbole right now. I'm being serious. When you feel stuck, the worst thing you can do is stop, and you should be ready to die before you stop. That's how it's supposed to be. Because a life where you cannot follow your passion, where you cannot express yourself through your passion, is a life that is not worth living. Hate to say it, but it's true. A life where you don't follow your passion, when you don't do what you like to do, and you don't follow your dreams, you only have one life. So a life where you don't do that is a life not worth living. So whenever you feel stuck, the best fucking thing you can do, even if you don't know how, even if you don't know when, just keep fucking going. Do something. Try something new. Maybe you're gonna fail. Even if you fail, you're gonna learn something from it. Or maybe you're gonna struck gold and you're gonna find something new, and you're gonna find a new way of doing certain things which will make your domain and which will make your life better. So the best thing to do when you feel stuck on the road to achieving your dreams, on the road to your destiny, the best thing to do is to keep going. Even if you don't know how, don't know where, when, how to do it, just keep fucking going and never fucking stop. One of the best lessons I learned, speaking from personal experience, is learning the skill of taking decisions quickly without overthinking. Not without thinking, without overthinking. Big difference between overthinking and thinking. Thinking is really fucking important. Really fucking important. Overthinking is really bad for you and is only going to bring negative outcomes. So never overthink, but always think, right? I hope it makes sense, because it makes a lot of fucking sense in my mind. The skill of taking decisions quickly. Whenever something happens badly, then okay, something bad happened, now I have to take a decision. What should I do? Option 1, option 2, option 3. If you keep overthinking, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is you're never going to choose an option. You're never going to move forward because you haven't chosen an option. So you're not going to find a solution to your problem. You need to learn the skill of taking decisions quick. I had a lot of trouble with this before, right? I'm getting better and better slowly by working on it. Before, when I used to have a problem, I would come up with certain solutions, certain options for a solution for my problem. But then I would overthink. I used to have a big problem with overthinking. I would overthink. Okay, but if I do this, maybe it's better if I do option 2. You know what? Maybe it's better if I come back to option 1 and then mix it with option 3. Maybe I should mix option 1, 2, and 3 together. You know what? Maybe all three of those options are really fucking bad. Let me find a 4th option. Let me find a 5th option. You know what? Actually, maybe option 1 was good. While I'm thinking, doers are doing. And so you got to learn, of course, think about it. Don't overthink. So you have 3 options, which are in general the 3 most logical for your rational mind. Those are the three most logical, right? Choose one, be quick about it because life goes by quickly. Be quick about it. And even if you choose let's say you choose option 1, and option 1 wasn't a good choice. So what? You tried something. At least now you know that option is not a good option for that certain problem. At least now you know. But if you never choose an option, you're never going to know and you're never going to move forward. Like I said, when you take an L, when you face failure, you don't go down in life. You move up. You go up. You level up. You become better because you acquire more knowledge. So you become, and then, which that means in consequence, you become more competent, and then you become more competent in that certain field and that certain domain, which you wish to become a really highly competent individual so that you can then, in conclusion, achieve all your dreams and all your destiny. That's how it's done. Learn the skill of taking decisions quickly without overthinking. Like I said, either you win from your decision or either you learn from it. You cannot lose. You can either win. Okay, I chose option 1. That was a good option. Good. On to the next problem. Life is, you're always going to have problems. Like the quote says, I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. I got 99 problems, but money ain't one. you're always going to have problems. More money, more problems. It's a fact of life. You're always going to have more problems. The point of life is overcoming those problems. And whenever you overcome a problem or a challenge, you become better and better and better, and you evolve and you level up. That's how it's done. So you never lose when you choose an option. You only lose when you overthink and then you don't decide on any action. You don't decide on any decision. You just keep thinking about it. Nothing has been done. You're just overthinking, but no action, no plan was put to paper, and no action was actually done in the real world. So you never lose. You either learn or you win. And the only time you lose in life is when you give up. That's a fact. Like I said, where there is a will, there is a way. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying where there's intelligence, there's a way. I'm not saying where there's competency, there's a way. I'm not saying when there's daddy's money, there's a way. I'm not saying where there's money, there's a way. I'm not saying where there's beauty, there's a way. I'm not saying where there's charisma, there's a way. It's simply where there is a will, there is a way. Let's take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. One of my biggest idols of all time, right? I fucking love the guy and I respect the shit out of Arnold, right? In all the three fields that he succeeded, bodybuilding, acting, governor of California, not once, but twice, politics. In all the fields that he succeeded, he had zero talent for those fields. Maybe bodybuilders can maybe bash me and say you don't know what you're talking about. He had a lot of genetics, good, rich genetics. But one thing I know from bodybuilding is that when he was in Europe and then when he came to America, all the biggest American trainers for bodybuilding, they all told him, you're too fat. Your fat percentage is too high. So that's something. But one thing that I can say for a fact, that I can say confidently, for acting, he was the opposite of what Hollywood was looking for at the time specifically, right? They're looking for a pretty boy, more like the skinny look, perfect English, no thick accent like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I have an accent, but his accent is fucking something else. Not a thick accent, not a bodybuilder shape. That's like the opposite of the shape they want. They want a normal shape like DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, George Clooney, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, all the biggest actors. They want a normal body shape so you can play multiple and various roles throughout life and throughout cinema, right? So he had everything against him. All the odds were against Arnold Schwarzenegger when it came to the movie business. You know what happened, guys? He became the highest paid Hollywood actor in the world. Not only did he become an actor with certain leading roles here and there, like even that is big success, right? Becoming an actor, A-list celebrity, A-list actor in Hollywood is tremendous success, is through the roof success, right? Not only did he become an A-list Hollywood actor, but he became the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And he had, I'm not doing hyperbole, I'm not abusing, he literally had all the fucking odds against him when it came to succeeding in Hollywood. All the fucking odds against him. He can't act for shit. His acting talent is zero, negative 200. He doesn't have the normal Hollywood hunk look. His English is far from being perfect. And he just can't fucking act. I mean, it's acting. How can you become an actor if you can't act? Arnold Schwarzenegger showed us that where there is a will, there is a way. He put crazy will into it. He put all of his heart into it, all of his brain power, all of his willpower into something. He focused into something that he wanted. He also envisioned it and he wanted it with his entire heart. That's why he achieved it. Where there is a will, there is a way. Simple as that. Talking about Hollywood and cinema, over the years, recently I watched the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, right? Really good movie, phenomenal movie, beautiful story. But one thing that I saw from watching that movie is that over time, movie technology has improved like by crazy levels. Like that movie was made in 1982, 1983, A Gentleman and an Officer and a Gentleman, A Gentleman and an Officer, I'm not sure. Amazing movie with, what's his name? What's the name of the leading actor? Richard Gere, amazing actor with the actor Richard Gere. He's the leading role in that movie. Very good looking guy, very good actor. So throughout the years, technology has improved crazy, like through the roof. It's on a different level. It's like two different genres. It's like theater combined. It's like theater against Hollywood cinema. Like the level of difference, the level of technology is so different that it's like if it was two different domains, but they're not two different domains. They're all cinema. So technology has improved crazy, but storytelling has declined. It's a fucking fact. And the only reason that storytelling has declined, the only reason why is wokeness in Hollywood and DEI. When we put to the side competency and quality for diversity, equity, and inclusion, so instead of hiring the best actors, the best writers, the best directors, the best camera guys, the best light guys, the best whatever, instead of hiring the best of the best, we hire people based on their skin color and not their competency, based on their political affiliation and not their competency, based on their religious affiliation and not competency. That's where quality goes down the toilet, right? The reason technology has improved is simply throughout time, we get better and better technology. It's as simple as that. But storytelling is something that with time can actually decrease. Technology and years going forward, they go together. The more we move forward, the more technology will move forward. But that's not the case with storytelling and with humanity and morality and just storytelling in general. That's not the case, because we can go forward, but storytelling can go down, because storytelling isn't something we can touch. It's not something we can touch like this mic. 100 years ago, this mic didn't exist. Now it exists. It's something I can touch. So things that we cannot touch don't necessarily mean that they will improve with time. Poetry can decline with time as much as it can improve with time. Storytelling, singing, talking, speaking, they can all decline with time because there are things we cannot touch. There are things that come from the soul, from humanity's soul, from the human soul, and they are considered art forms. So art forms can decline, but technology with time will always improve and become better. But I feel like now in Hollywood, because of DEI and because of wokeness, where we put competence to the side and where we focus more on diversity, equity, and inclusion, instead of focusing on making the best movie possible with the best story with the best story and the best movie in general, instead of focusing on that, we focus more on political agendas now and on hitting racial quotas and diversity quotas. We need to have a gay couple, we need to have this and that. And that's why storytelling has declined over the past years, over the previous years in Hollywood and in cinema in general. That's my opinion. As a big cinephile, I fucking love movies, always loved movies. Storytelling has declined. That's a fact. Although technology has improved a lot, storytelling has declined a lot. So, Billie Eilish recently won a Grammy, and during her Grammy acceptance speech, she said, "No one is illegal on stolen land." Let me dissect this. First of all, it's not stolen land, it's conquered land. And then when it was conquered by European settlers, they created, which I might add, the greatest country on planet Earth, which is known as the United States of America. They created the best country on planet Earth. And in order to have a country, you need to have a constitution, you need to have a set of laws, you need to have judicial department, executive department, and the judicial, executive, and the fucking legislative branch of government in order to have a country. And then you need to have a government, roads, infrastructure, and everything else in order to have a country. But the most important in all Western democratic countries, and the reason that America is democratic, and the reason that what makes a country democratic is people abiding the law, and you don't have to abide it. Even if you don't abide it, you suffer the consequences of your actions. But one thing that makes democracy is everyone, of course, having their freedom of speech, everyone having the right to express themselves and to vote. But also one thing is no one is above the fucking law. No one. Donald J. Trump, the most powerful man on paper in America, isn't above the law. If he breaks the law, he has to face a judge and a jury of his peers, of 12 of his peers, and a judge, and he has to defend himself and then he has to get judged by the jury of his peers and by the judge. So even when Donald Trump, who is the most powerful man in America on paper, he isn't above the law. Elon fucking Musk. Elon Musk, the richest man on planet fucking Earth, he isn't above the law in America. In any democratic and any truly democratic country, no one is above the law. And America is a true democratic country, meaning that no one is above the law in America. Not Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, not my fucking neighbor, not Joe Blow who works at Home Depot. No one is above the law in America, which then means when you break a law, you have to suffer the consequences of your actions. Entering a country illegally, entering America illegally means breaking a law. And the consequence of breaking that law is deportation. It's as simple as that. He broke the law. When an immigrant entered America illegally, once he entered illegally, he immediately is seen as a criminal, as someone who broke the law. And the consequence of entering illegally isn't a slap on the wrist, isn't getting hanged by the neck until death, isn't going to jail for 3 years, is getting deported. That is the consequence of that action, of the action of entering America illegally. The consequence of that action is getting deported by law. That is the consequence. And since no one is above the law in America, in any true democratic country, no one is above the law. That's why when you break that law, you suffer the consequences of your action. That's why they get deported. Illegal immigrants get deported, not legal immigrants. My parents are legal immigrants. They can never get deported. Why? Because they're legal. They came here legally and they have their citizenship now. I'm born here. That's different. I'm always going to be, I'm not even an immigrant. I'm born here. But my parents who are immigrants, they're legal immigrants, so they would never get deported. But illegals are not legal here. That's why they are considered illegal immigrants. And then let's talk about this stolen land nonsense. It's not stolen, it's conquered, right? Throughout history, throughout humanity, people, tribes have been conquering other peoples and other tribes. It's human nature, it's humanity, that's life. It's not only been done once by white people towards natives. It's been done throughout history, and it's still being done to this day. And it's been done throughout history for the past millions of years. Humans have been conquering other humans. Societies have been conquering other societies and taking their land and shifting history and shifting geopolitics. That's life. White people conquered America, the continent of America. They conquered it. They didn't steal it. They conquered it. If you want to conquer your land back, if you want to get back what is stolen from you, just go ahead and conquer it. If you can, no one can stop you. If you're more powerful, if you're stronger than America, you can come here and conquer the land. But you have to fucking do it, and no one's going to do it because America is the most powerful country in the world. God bless America. That's a fact. But just to make it clear, it's not stolen land, it's conquered land. And also, if I might add, another example of tribes conquering from other tribes, before a white person ever stepped foot on the American continent, when it was only Indians and Native Americans living on the American continent, the Crees have been stealing from the Shanawa, I don't know their names, but different tribes of Indians have been conquering other tribes, conquering from other tribes, pillaging other tribes, waging war on other tribes, and conquering between each other. Natives have been doing it before. The only difference is when white Europeans arrived, they came with such a vast difference in power and physical power with guns and technology and everything else. When they arrived, There was no competition. And that's why no matter how many tribes there were, the Crees, the Cherokees, whatever else Native Americans tribes existed in America, the continent, whichever tribe, they weren't able to do nothing against the white European settlers. Why? Because they were just way stronger, way more equipped. They were way more advanced. And when they arrived, it was like putting a lion against a rat. There's no competition. It's fucking, they're going to destroy everything in their way. And as they did, and then they created the greatest country on planet Earth, something only Europeans could have done, and something Europeans have been doing for the past millions of years, creating the best societies on planet Earth. And that's why all immigrants from the third world, all immigrants who aren't from the Western world, they all want to go live in the Western world because white Europeans created the best places on planet Earth. That's a fact. That's why everyone wants to live there. But to get back to the stolen land, it's not stolen, it's conquered. If you want it back, conquer it back. It's as simple as that. It's maybe not moral, it's maybe not nice, like you guys say, like you woke people say, it's not nice, whatever. That's the law of the jungle. That's the law of life. That's the law of humanity. It's been that way ever since humans exist, and it's always going to be that way, and it's currently like that. So if you want it back, if you want the American land back, conquer it. And if someone else wants the American land, let's say Africans want it, come and get it. Come and get it. Come and conquer it. It's never going to happen. You're never going to be able to. But if you want it, come and conquer it, because we're not going to give it, and you're not going to steal it, because you can't steal it. You cannot steal land. You can only conquer land, and that's how it's done. Next topic, talking about the Grammys. Donald J. Trump had something to say about it, and he went to Twitter to write, "The Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. CBS is lucky not to have this garbage litter their airwaves any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, whoever he may be, is almost as bad as Jimmy Kimmel at the low ratings Academy Awards. Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island." I'm pretty sure that Bill Clinton and Donald J. Trump were on the Epstein list, but I didn't really look at the Epstein list or whatever. But as much as I love Donald Trump as a politician, and especially now in 2026, I think he was in the Epstein files. I don't know, maybe he wasn't, but let's put that to the side. He said, "Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island, nor anywhere close. And until tonight's false and defamatory statement, I have never been accused being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah, a total loser. As the president, I agree that he shouldn't talk that way towards others, because like or not, you are the president of the United States, and you're like a symbol. You represent America, so you shouldn't be speaking that way, but I understand where he's coming from. I understand what he means by it. Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue his poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty money. Ask little George Slopadopoulos and others how that all worked out. Also ask CBS. Get ready, Noah. I'm going to have some fun with you. President DJT, Donald J. Trump." Yes, I hate the Grammys now in 2026, because it's all woke. It's all woke agenda, political agendas, liberal agendas, woke agendas, DEI agendas. I fucking hate that shit. I fucking hate it. But Donald J. Trump, man, he went crazy. So I understand where he's coming from. But yes, I agree with him. Nowadays, just like the Oscars, the Grammys are full of woke idiots, DEI, affirmative action, whatever. And I fucking hate it. And that's why many people hate it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, talking about movies before. In movies, as much as technology plays a big role, at the end of the day, the most important is storytelling. That's why even though we advance in technology of making movies become worse and worse, because yes, the technology gets better, but the storytelling gets worse and worse. And that's why, in general, since storytelling is the most important part of cinema and of making movies and of a movie, that's why movies in general, as a whole, is going down. And that's why Hollywood and cinema is dying, because storytelling is dying. And when storytelling dies, the cinema industry will die and the movie industry will die. I feel like it will never happen, because It's just a matter of time that someone who actually does tell good stories and has a good story to tell, has a movie to make, he's going to make good movies. And of course, we cannot decide who's going to watch what. Humans decide, people decide what they're going to watch. So if many people watch good movies, that movie's going to get popular and everyone's going to watch it. So that's why the Bible is also popular, because it is filled with stories. Books are stories. Poetry is stories. Expressing yourselves are stories. That's why the Bible is so popular, because it is filled with stories, right? The reason the book is so popular because it is filled with stories. And with a certain story, we can all look at the same story, look at the same movie, read the same book, but all have a different interpretation and a different vision and a different point of view regarding what we just read, what we just saw, and what we just watched. That's why movies who tell good stories are so fucking popular. And that's why the Bible is so popular. And that's why good books are so popular, because they tell a good story. There's no technology there. It's simply paper with ink on it. And but it's a good fucking story. So it makes us think and makes us imagine. It makes us imagine. It makes us be creative. It makes us have an opinion on humanity, on life, on society, whatever. But storytelling in all art forms is the most important. And also, when it comes to arts, the most important job for arts is expressing yourself. Some do it through singing, some through writing books, some through poetry, some through paintings, sculptures, tattoos, whatever else, podcasting, singing, whatever else art form exists. It's all about expressing yourself. Some people who are really talented singers, they're not capable of expressing themselves with words, so they express themselves by singing. All artists are really expressive and emotional human beings. That's why they feel the need to express themselves, and then they find an airway, a conduit to share their expression, to express themselves with the world. They find a conduit. Some artists use singing, some artists use the guitar, an instrument, some use poetry, some use painting, some use sculpture, some use tattoos, some use podcasting like me. But at the end of the day, an artist is all about someone who is expressive, who is emotional, and who wants to express themselves. And then they find the best way to express themselves. They find the conduit for the entire world to listen to and to hear what they have to say. That's what arts in general is, in my opinion. That's why, like I said, some people are really good at writing books, writing stories to express themselves, but they're not good at singing. So they're going to use books, writing books, as an instrument, as a tool to express themselves to the world. Okay, so guys, nowadays on social media, okay, you guys know me. I'm like the least woke guy. I hate wokeism. I hate DEI. I hate affirmative action. I hate all of that far left liberal woke nonsense. I hate all of that bullshit. But some people are going way too far right, man. Like, chill out. Like, I understand. I also hate wokeism. I also hate DEI. I also hate all of that far left liberal shit. But don't overcorrect. Don't now, because of some people who are far left, don't go far right. Because far right is also a bad place to be, right? That's why nowadays I see so many people romanticizing Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, which I find fucking crazy and fucking stupid. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis were bad people. They weren't cool people like Nick Fuentes says. They weren't good people. They were bad people. They killed so many people. They created violence. They suppressed so many people. And they are just really bad people. I understand that Adolf Hitler and the Nazis are like the opposite of the left woke, far left liberals. And I understand they're like the opposite. Yes, they do exist now, the far left liberals who are woke. They are abusing, but don't overcorrect and then become a Hitler and a Nazi sympathizer, because that's also really fucking bad. Be in the middle. I feel like all human beings are logical. Like, of course, I understand some humans going more to the right so they can pull it back to the middle. That's what I'm doing. I've always been a liberal, but nowadays in 2026, I cannot be a liberal. I cannot associate myself with these far left idiots because it's way too far left. And I'm not for all this woke shit, all this DEI shit, all this against meritocracy and all of this nonsense. That's why I go a bit more to the right to bring it back to the middle, because I want it to be in the middle. But some people are going way too far right, fucking romanticizing Hitler, romanticizing Nazis, and having like this love and this newfound love for Nazis and for Hitler. That's fucking crazy. That's berserk. Don't overcorrect. of course, go a bit more to the right so we can pull these far left wokists a bit more to the middle, because nowadays these liberals have gone way too far left, in my opinion. And talking about being fair and being in the middle, let's talk about the English school of thought. What it is although the world is full of individualism and tribality, it's filled with it. All societies are tribal, although in my opinion, white societies and Western societies more in general are the least tribal. They still remain tribal to a certain degree, but all societies on planet Earth are tribal, all cultures. Everyone thinks for themselves. Everyone wants the best for themselves and their family members and their close members, which is normal. It's a humane thing. But although the world is full of individualism and tribality, there is still and always will be place for cooperation. That's a fact. Let's say you have a dream and it's a solo dream. I understand. But there is still place for cooperation. And not only that, but cooperation will also make you reach your goals faster and make you go even further in your dreams and in your goals. So although the world is harsh, everyone is out here thinking for themselves, a lot of individualism, a lot of tribality, there is still place for cooperation between societies, between countries, foreign affairs, and between individuals. There will always be place for cooperation, even though, let's say, I make a deal with someone, he's looking out for his best interests, I'm looking out for my best interests. Even though that's the case, there is still room for cooperation. And at the end of the day, through cooperation, we will both achieve more and we will both go further down the line than if we weren't to cooperate. We are social creatures. As much as people like to be like this lone wolf, we need one another. We've always needed one another, and we will always need one another to achieve certain goals, to achieve certain things. Like, let's say, to put Neil Armstrong on the moon, right? Neil Armstrong is the guy who went on the moon. But if it wasn't for all these thousands of people behind him, if it wasn't for them, he never would have stepped foot on the moon. Of course, he can say, I achieved this, yes, but through cooperation with others. Although the world is full of individualism and tribality, there is still and always will be place for cooperation. For a joyful and peaceful life, it's very simple. Find your passion. Keep doing it until you fucking die. Even if no one buys your art, even if no one listens to you, even if no one gives a fuck about you, even if you never achieve it, it remains your passion. Meaning, when something is your passion, you don't care if you make money out of it. You don't care if you become successful. You just like doing it because it's a passion. That's what a passion is. If you're doing something, if you're starting out something just for money, just for fame, just for clicks, just for status, that's not your passion. Your passion is something you're capable of doing for the rest of your life without ever gaining any success, without ever gaining anything from doing that passion. That's a passion. Some people are going to paint for the rest of their lives, for the entirety of their lives, and they're never going to make a single dollar out of it, but they keep doing it because it's a fucking passion. Of course, you can make a lot of fucking money from your passion. Most people do it, and you can do it. If people can do it, so can you. We're all human beings. But a passion remains a passion. And also, talking about passion, in my opinion, we can all have multiple passions. It's not only one thing. There are many human beings who do multiple things, right? There are certain human beings who just focus on one particular passion and then they do it for the rest of their lives. But we all have multiple passions, and we all have multiple passions that we can gain fiscal gain, and we can gain monetarily goods from it and gain physical goods from it. A good car, money, fame, status, whatever. But we can all have multiple passions. It's not only one thing. We can all do multiple things. All human beings have something that they can do and achieve greatness from. All human beings have that inside of them, and they will always have that inside of them. All human beings, not just one, every single one of us. We all have talents. Everyone has talent. We all have talent. Different fields, different domains, but all human beings are talented at something. All human beings. It's only a question of finding what you're talented at. And of course, you have to be passionate about it. So finding what you're talented about, in general, both of those go together. Talent and passion goes together in general. So finding your passion, finding your talent is the most important. Like I said, just because one of your passions didn't work out and now it's too late, let's say me, playing soccer was one of my passions. I didn't go pro. I wanted to go pro. Now it's impossible for me to go pro. It's okay. Podcasting is another passion I have. Maybe I'm gonna have another passion in a couple of years, in 10 years, maybe tomorrow, maybe 20 minutes from now, I'm gonna find another passion. We're always gonna have many passions, things that acquire our attention, things that attract our attention, attract our mind, attract our soul. That's the most important. To find a passion, to find something that attracts your soul, that is something you should be chasing for the rest of your life, no matter what happens. Like Walt Disney said once, if you can dream it, you can do it. It's as simple as that. If you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney. And if I might add, just like Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress and giving birth to evolution. And that's why dreaming and that's why imagining things is so fucking important. Don't take my word for it. You can say, oh yeah, you're a dreamer. That's why you never achieved anything. You didn't achieve your goals. Although I did, in my opinion, I did it. I do have a beautiful life. I'm really, really content with my life, although I want more. Walt Disney and Einstein are two persons that you cannot say they didn't achieve their dreams, that you cannot say that they didn't achieve great and miraculous things. Walt Disney and Einstein, they aren't those type of people who didn't achieve miraculous things. They did achieve miraculous things. And they said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world. And throughout time, let's say the knowledge we have right now in 2026 isn't the same knowledge that people had in 1996, isn't the same knowledge people had in 1886, and it won't be the same knowledge that people will have in 2106. It's not the same knowledge because throughout time, throughout findings, research, and whatever, our knowledge of the world changes. That's a fact. But imagination, the imagination someone had 2,000 years ago can be literally the same imagination that someone can have nowadays in 2026, because imagination has no limits. That's the beauty of it, and that's the power of having imagination and of dreaming. That's the fucking power. The imagination and the dream you can have right now can be the same level and this exact same imagination and dream someone can have 300 years from now, even if our researches are different, even if our findings are different, whatever knowledge becomes different, our imagination can remain the same because it's limitless. There's no limit to it, and it can only grow and grow and become more and more and more. That's the beauty of it. Let me finish it off right here for this reality check. That was it for this reality check. See you guys next episode. Peace out.